Go Tommy. Senator Tommy Tuberville, Republican of Alabama. I like him. He's not afraid. He's not intimidated. And he knows the military, they're playing a great big woke game, doing the bidding of the Biden administration. It should not be that way. When the Dobbs ruling came down, he saw this coming. He could feel it. Check it out.
3 months ago, I informed Secretary Austin that if he tried to turn the DOD into an abortion travel agency, I would place a hold on all civilian flag and general officer nominees. Secretary Austin's new abortion policy is immoral and arguably illegal. If he wants to change the law, he needs to go through Congress.
Good for him. Absolutely right. And the Pentagon, they shouldn't be touching this thing with a 10-foot pole, but they went right there.
Following the Supreme Court's decision, Secretary Austin and other DoD and service leaders received significant feedback from many service members about the complexity and uncertainty they now face in accessing reproductive health care, to include abortion services. Within days of the Dobbs decision, the department issued guidance to reassure the force that the department would continue to provide federally authorized health care and would take action to increase access to contraceptive services.
Take action? Bureaucratic talk for, becoming travel agents for people who want to have abortions in the military. This is not the way it was supposed to go down, and these generals and admirals do not deserve their promotions. In fact, they deserve to be demoted. And actually, it's funny, for the first time, I think, in the history of the world, the liberal media are concerned that there is no commandant of the Marine Corps right now. So the commandant of the Marine Corps, a guy named Berger, he retired today. And his replacement is actually not available because not Senate confirmed. They're not promoting these guys right now, thanks to Tommy Tuberville, and that's just fine. It's amazing that liberals are saying, oh, somehow our national defense is at risk. It's not. And quite frankly, it may have been at risk with this guy as commandant. He's the one who got rid of all the tanks. It's a big issue in the Marine Corps, and it's still a matter of disbelief for a lot of us. So the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff and those guys, what they have done to this military, and I got to tell you, the military itself, I think overall, we're in a cultural crisis in America and in the military. Did you see this? Spoken word night. There's a spoken word night on aircraft carriers. Yes, LGBTQ spoken word night. And it goes something like this, apparently.
I was able to deploy on the USS Gerald R. Ford last fall, and the coolest thing I did on board was to be able to participate in a LGBTQ spoken word night, and I was able to read a poem that I wrote to the whole ship. And that was probably the culmination of the whole deployment.
All right, so it's not just the abortion issue where the military has gone woke and weird. In every other aspect, it is woke and weird. And I believe that's part of Senator Tuberville's concerns and why he's putting a hold on these promotions. Watch him in action. It's great.
I have a lot of problems with this video. This non-binary officer said the highlight of a deployment on the USS Gerald Ford was reading a poem to the entire ship. Admiral Gilday, have you seen this video?
I have.
I hope we train our officers to prioritize their sailors, not themselves. Did it surprise you that a junior officer says the highlight of her deployment, her first and the ship's first, was about herself and her own achievement?
I'll tell you why I'm particularly proud of this sailor.
Proud of this sailor. This is the top sailor. This is the guy, the admiral, the CNO. Proud. This is the kind of stuff, you see it all the time. Powerful people doing absurd things to keep their power. The non-binary officer, the admiral's proud of, but Senator Tuberville gets it. I don't think Senator Tuberville actually served in the military. That doesn't matter. These people, the military, they work for civilians. That's the way it should be. Often they want to confuse the issue. More from Senator Tommy.
The problem that I'm having is the obsession with race, gender, sex. It's focused on self. It's not focused on team. And if we don't start building team, we have no chance to win individually in this country. We have no chance.
World-class football coach, oh, by the way, and he understands. He gets it. Doesn't matter that he didn't serve in the military. The military's gone woke and weird, and this is threatening. This is threatening our national security. Not a temporary hold on promotions for officers who, oh, by the way, have been losing wars lately. We have a massive cultural and tactical and strategic problem in the military. We all saw that with General Milley, of course, who will be leaving the job fairly soon, we believe, and his top enlisted deputy, the Sergeant Major of the Army, another beauty. This is the kind of stuff you're not supposed to be talking about in uniform, but in an effort to undermine Trump back in the summer of 2020, that's what they did. The word coup comes to mind, but maybe that's a little much, maybe. May I see Sergeant Major Grinstead? This is the top enlisted man in the United States Army at the time.
In our Army, we have to trust and understand one another. We have to be willing to tell our stories. Here's part of my story. I was born in 1968. My father was black. My mother was white.
So what? And he let the entire Army know it. So what? It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter, but divide us, please.
When I was 3, they divorced, and I moved to Alabama. Racial identity is something that I struggle with my entire life.
It's not our problem. You didn't have to. You chose to, in my opinion. Next.
Coming to grips with both sides of my identity, at one point, I decided I would put black on the form. And at that time, I only had 2 choices. So I handed the form that I was given to the lady, and she said, "That's not funny." I said, "What are you talking about?" She said, "You shouldn't mark that." I said, "Well," I explained to her I was black and white, and I didn't have too many choices for anything else on that form.
And the relevance of this is what? Nothing other than to involve himself in the political moment. And that is so wrong. Finally.
Sometimes in my life, I felt like it's in the movie, The Green Book, where the actor gets out of the car and he says, "I'm not black enough for the black people. I'm not white enough for the white people." That's my story.
That's his story, huh? What about all the military stuff? He's a sergeant major of the Army. He's in his 50s. This is what his story is all about. This is, how do we get here? How do we get here? We used to have generals like Colin Powell, okay? This guy, look, he went a little bit woke himself later in life after he took off the uniform. But when he was in uniform, and that guy you just saw, and Milley, and all the generals now, they were on active duty when the don't ask, don't tell policy was proposed and implemented.
We are the best force in the world, and to be the best requires subjugating individual rights to the benefit of the group and the benefit of the team. Homosexuals over history who have been willing to keep their orientation private have been successful members of those teams. Congress and the courts have consistently upheld the unique circumstances of military service, and I believe the American people understand these unique circumstances and support them as well.
Absolutely. We did and we do up until 10 minutes ago. What would Colin Powell, I mean, I know he voted for Obama and Biden and Hillary, but forget him. What do we think of this?
What's your drink of choice?
A Negroni.
I was going to say the same thing. Yeah.
Magliato. With Prosecco. Magliato. With Prosecco. A Negroni. With Prosecco.
All right, so that's an influencer. They got to put videos out for the Navy, and again, look at the difference, right? General Colin Powell talking sensitively and responsibly about these issues, and this stuff. Where Tommy Tuberville is right. We're not going to win the next war like this. We just don't have the bandwidth. He learned a lot of great stuff on that football field. And I want to remind everybody that, we support the men and women who serve, but we don't serve them. And more in this country, they want us to think it's the other way around, and it's not. Oh, by the way, quick reminder, Mark Milley, soon to be ex-chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, is a big fat liar.
If you flash forward to today, you've got a significantly, and in my opinion, much more positive situation on your hand. First of all, with the security forces, this Army is capable. So they've gone from 0 to 350,000 in a relatively short amount of time. And they are capable at the tactical level every day, day in and day out, and they're proving it over and over and over again in this summer's fighting season, the first summer that they've really and legitimately been in the lead.
Nobody who ever encountered the Afghanistan troops were particularly impressed, ever. 10 years ago, oh yeah, they're this close to standing up on their own. They're this close. The yes man mentality, the telling the boss what the boss you think the boss wants to hear. This has infected the military, and it's almost ruined it. And it's been at work for a long time. Look, let's face it, military is on a losing streak. Lost in Vietnam. Lost in Vietnam. Now, I don't blame the soldiers and the Marines in the field, but the generals, you can look it up. Yeah, they were lying out loud. They were lying to everybody about it. And other political overseers as well. Iraq, that was a bust, wasn't it? George W. Bush gets the blame, but it revealed major shortcomings in the military, both in our training and our tactics, and yeah, in our culture. Afghanistan, well, that one, huh? That one. It's almost like it never happened, actually. Strange. Less than 2 years ago, and it's been somewhat erased from public consciousness. Not mine, not yours, I hope. We have to get it together in the military in our country, and pretty soon, this country, at this rate, won't even be worth defending. This kind of perversion, who's gonna go fight for a country that supports this, that encourages this? I'd fight that. I'd fight that from happening, but a country that supports it and promotes it and has institutionalized it, I don't know. What's next? West Wing or crack den? The mystery of the cocaine has not yet been solved, and for a brief shining moment, the mainstream media, they were fangs out. They wanted to get to the bottom of it too.
White House mystery. New details about the investigation into the cocaine discovered inside the West Wing.
We have just learned that a formal lab has confirmed the suspicion that that white powdery substance found in the West Wing on Sunday was in fact positive for cocaine.
A new turn in the White House cocaine mystery. A more precise location of where the drug was found.
All right, but this is just the stuff they chatter about on cable news during the day. When it comes time for the big primetime Sunday political talk shows, zilch. Zilch about this. The most talked about story last week. Face the nation. Deface the nation, they used to call it. No mention of the cocaine found at the White House. This week, with whoever's hosting it this week, no mention of the cocaine found at the White House. State of the Union with nasty, mean, fake Jake Tapper. No mention of the cocaine. And it goes, oh, how about this one, folks? Fox News Sunday. What is up with them, huh? They don't want to mention it either. What kind of deal do they have with the White House over there at Fox News? Now, Meet the Press, they did for about 20 seconds at the end of the show. But they did, came up a little bit obliquely. Take a look.
Before I close, Maureen Dowd Garrett had a pretty tough piece on Joe Biden's. It was about sort of the Biden family isn't acknowledging all of Hunter Biden's children. It's 7 grandkids, Mr. President, not 6. I think we've all understand the personal challenge and concern and all of these things that the president has here. But his political foes see this and they're trying to exploit. There's no doubt every day DeSantis or Trump tries to use Hunter to beat up Biden. How's that world handling it?
How dare those pesky Republicans go there? They're so exploitive. Everybody just wants this kid, this poor grandkid in Arkansas, is it, to be acknowledged. You know, it's interesting. The New York Times, for basically the first time, has been writing about this. 2 articles so far in the past 10 days. Me? This show? I was talking about it in February of last year. The grandkid. It was a major story. That's Ms. Roberts on the left, and had Hunter's baby. And unacknowledged, and that is a sin. That is a sin. Yes, it is. Anyway, now they talk about the cocaine.
Look, I don't think anybody envies the position that the president and his family are in on this issue, because his family and Hunter specifically have become his primary political liability in a lot of ways. I mean, look at the cocaine story from the last week and how many Republicans have tried to seize on that issue.
It's really kind of ugly the way it's been done.
It's kind of it's certainly kind of a tacky play here.
Tacky? I mean, there's cocaine in the White House near the Situation Room. This is somehow not a legitimate story. This is Republicans this is a smear campaign. One more.
Look, this is as complex as it gets to have to, I think all of us here are parents, right? The idea of trying to balance your family's needs versus your political imperatives is just ugly and unpleasant in politics as we're going to get, and we're going to get way down in it.
I was just going to say, this is only the beginning. Yeah. All right, I got to run. That's all we have for today.
Let's get out of here real quick. End of the show. That guy who said we're all parents, he's younger than Hunter Biden. What is he talking about? Hunter Biden is, I think he might be a grandfather himself. He's old enough to be one. This little footnote about drugs in the White House. Does anybody remember George H.W. Bush's first speech from the Oval Office in 1989? It was about drugs, and something unusual happened.
Tonight I'll tell you how many Americans are using illegal drugs. I will present to you our national strategy to deal with every aspect of this threat, and I will ask you to get involved in what promises to be a very difficult fight. This is crack cocaine, seized a few days ago by drug enforcement agents in a park just across the street from the White House. It could easily have been heroin or PCP. It's as innocent looking as candy, but it's turning our cities into battle zones, and it's murdering our children.
After he did that, all hell broke loose. How could he have brought crack cocaine into the White House, even though it said evidence right there? There's a huge controversy about this, more controversy about that than the actual cocaine that Hunter, Kamala, who knows who else may have been using.